Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the market preview for the, what is it, March 1st. There we go. So, again, I expect a backside test in this white zone sometime this morning. The potential is there to sweep the whole value area because it's in balance. So, if you can get set up short here, you might want to look for an extension down towards that value area low, 14027, 13996, 13957 are areas lower. Conversely, responsive buys and traps back up from these locations below lead to a target of 14120 to 14079 if we're going to stay in balance, right? So those are the two sides of that tape that we're looking for on ES. Much the same. I obviously did this recording around 5:30 in the morning. So you look at it and go, okay, we got over an old 24-hour old high overnight, right? Exhausted, consolidated, finally rolled down. They attempted to hold the anomaly. Again, that's a 15-minute bar, right? Failed. Down to the point of control, chop, 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 chop. Came out of the point of control. They couldn't make it quite to value area low. Responsive buyers behind the stop to the left ended up getting a push back to 43.63 to 43.70. Again, that's where I expect initial rejection out of there this morning. And even if we get above it, if we get back below, backside test into that for rejection. And then the areas of interest are obviously 43.90, 43.85, 43.90, 44.10 to 45.11, and finally on a huge stretch, 44.41. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't expect to get up here, but I would expect 42.90 to kind of cap it in that area. And then just be mindful of where Globex high is. And Globex low. You may want to do the same on. You may want to do the same on ES. So on NQ, excuse me. So with that being said, let's go look at what the setups were. So again, same idea as yesterday, right? If you look at the 20 tick, which is what I was trading off of last night, if I can grab it, or not letting me grab it. Okay, let's minimize some of this. 20, 30. Here we'll minimize the 30. And we'll minimize the 7. There we go. So I was working off the 20, and if you look last night, again, location plus, like, what does it look like when it rejects out of location? Well, here's the test into the white zone, right? See the triangle down with the on the no supply, no demand bar? Gets responsive sellers. Hey, good morning, Ben. And down she rolls, right? Doesn't work every time. Again, location's important. Triangle up, no supply, no demand, pushes, right? At the apex, we're looking for the point of control to get above the no supply, no demand. If you don't get that, you can get a triangle up on the no supply, no demand and push. There is no, I don't think this A grade trapped back in. Let's see, A plus. It was A because it took 2 bars to trap back in, but it did trap back in. And then down here, right? I'm just going through the setup, star into star. We already know that's pretty powerful, right? No supply, no demand in the star. We know that's pretty powerful, right? So this triggered long here, pushed, came back down, stopped it out, goes back in with a star, and that was essentially the low of the day. You also got a no supply, no demand with a point of control above on the next bar. That was a valid long as well. And if you look back to the left there, you got again the triangle down on the no supply, no demand bar. When it's not right at the apex, it's a little bit less desirable, but the concept and the idea hold true. Again, triangle up on the no supply, no demand, particularly at location. I realize this was inside the prior day's POC, so that's always challenging. And again, here's the no supply, no demand. POC is equal to or less than, and again, you got it here too. And you got to be a little nimble here, and obviously you got a big roll down there. That's what we're looking for today, right? I'm doing the same setup over and over again. Are there other setups? There are, but I'm doing the same setup over and over and over again and prepping myself for the day. On ES, right? Out of location into the yellow zone, no supply, no demand with the triangle down. Gave you a nice extension. Down here above value area high, no setup. No setup here, but you did get the triangle with the no supply, no demand. Right there again, it goes to profit. Not every one of them do, but enough of them do where you get a nice trade out of it, right? No supply, no demand, POC above, off it lifts. If you look over here, no setup over here, no A grade setup either for the downside move. You just got the triangle down. See how far this is off the apex? That's a really hard trade for me to take. I know it works. I wouldn't have taken that. And I would have taken this. It's no supply, no demand with the point of control above. So that's kind of going through the entire evening on what the trades pick off on, right? I'm already training my brain. This is what I want to take. And then I'm going to try to, if I'm lining it up with location, like for example, if it's coming out of that yellow zone, I'm going to go, hey, this trade could go, if I'm shorting up here, I'm going, well, can I make it back over here? This is a logical target, right? If I get the extension, does the extension come down here? And then what are the external factors? What are the other driving factors that'll drive that trade further one way or another? And that has a lot to do with the larger sentiment within the market. This morning we have at 9 a.m. we have U.S. ISM manufacturing PMI. People will be watching that. Yellen spoke with France's Minister Lamar regarding Russia. So there's going to be a lot of Russian news coming across the tape all morning long. And we currently have it sitting like this. NQ's down 57. It's been down as much as 130, 140, I believe. ES is down 11. It was down 20 earlier. And crude is up $5 a barrel to 101. So we'll see what happens. But those are what I'm looking to execute. Again, executing at a high level gets tired. Again, I spoke to someone who was having difficulty staying consistent without going off target with off plan trades and going on tilt. Right? I'm telling you, it happens to each and every one of us at one point or another. You have to have a process down to stop that. And you're going to have to dedicate time, if it's a problem for you, to stopping that. My suggestion is the most difficult, frustrating solution there is, right? If you take a trade off plan, you stop, you document what you did, and you stop trading for an hour. You take 2 off plan in a row, you're done for the day. Why? Protect your capital, right? It's a problem. It's not a problem that can magically go away. Those over trading problems, those trading off of process problems, those trading out of frustration problems don't go away magically. They need an actual structural fix for you. And my suggestion is you stop. If you take your first trade and your first trade's off process, you're not ready to trade. That's all there is to it. It applies to me. It applies to everyone in this room. You're not ready to trade. And what happens is you get caught behind the curve. I'm going to show you how. Let's say you thought, well, let's go on a place where it worked. You just take the down triangle, right? It's really not anyone's process in the room as far as I know, just by itself, right? And the trade works, right? So you take the trade again over here. It stops you, right? You take the trade again over here. It stops you. But it paid you over here. So your brain's like, oh, I got paid. So now you're giving back half of what you made. You're in a little bit of a panic, right? So you flip and go, oh, I was going short. I need to go long. I go long here on process. It stops you. All of a sudden you got paid. And then you've gotten 3 stops in a row and you're like, I'm down. And what happens is that trigger kicks off and now you're not trading on anything, right? You're just like, oh, I'll just take this down triangle now, right? Oh, I got stopped again. How am I getting stopped so much? Why am I so frustrated, right? That folding of that thinking unfolds on top of people really quickly, and it happens to a lot of people. Everyone seems to think they're somehow immune to that thought process, and they're not, right? So let's go through that same sequence. That's how a trader having challenges would trade that, right? Now let's go through on process, right? So I'm coming through, I have no trade over here, none, right? Coming through over here, I have no trade over here. I might look to stop this star out right here. That's the only potential trade that I have. So the first thing you're going to notice is when you look at that is that you stopped it out and closed back in with a star. That's an A++ trade. That paid you, right? You didn't have to do anything else besides that. But even with that, concept or idea, right? If you go through to where am I going to take, where else can I take the trade? Where's my next setup, right? Nothing, 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 nothing. All the way through here, except one thing. Apologies. No supply, no demand. Point of control is equal to or greater than, and you get the long right there, and you got paid. So instead of one trade where you made a lot of money off process, and then 3 trades where you got stopped, one on process, right? Slow down your roll. By the way, you need to mark off if you're on process and you took this. You got, oh, you didn't get stopped. You survived if you used the 2-bar stop. I apologize. You got paid there. So you have to have an idea of what you are working for, what you are looking for in your setups, and the ability to absorb one stop on process. The moment you go off process, you're opening yourself up to susceptibility of getting run over. It's also why I advocate for not trading in the first half hour. Why? Not because it's not tradable, but because you can have a trade go to your profit, enter, go to your profit, and hit your stop in under a minute. It requires really fast thinking, right? And you end up leaving in this no man land. Oh, I sold it, it went up another 100 points. Oh, I held it, it went against me for 100 points. It just goes really quick, right? Put yourself in a position to be the winner. That's my suggestion, right? So the pattern has been every morning is that we found responsive buyers, both in ES and NQ, after early selling. We'll see if that steps back in again. We have the 9 a.m. After that, what we have is at 1 o'clock, we have Mester speaking and Bostic speaking at the same time, along with Bank of England Sanders speaking, all up between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Guess what? I think you should probably take a little vacay between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And then you have the 9 a.m. So I'm going to see if I can't wrap it up at the beginning of the day, and then maybe I'll come back after 1:30 at 1:30 and see if anything's there to set up to trade. I'm not a big fan of trading while the Fed guys are talking. I realize that the market sets up just the same sometimes, but for me, for whatever reason, it's a significant challenge, so no. So does anyone have any question over that? The process is pretty clear. A plus settings or A plus plus with the algo and the algo. That's what we are hunting for. There's no question in my mind about that. Go ahead, Ben. Okay, great. Totally agree. Good. No problem. I think if you take any trade-off process, you should stop for half an hour to an hour, whether it was a mistake or not a mistake. Make sure you're not on tilt. Your P&L will thank you for it later. Anyways, I'm going to save that. We're about to open. I don't have a particular opinion about which way the market's going to go out of the gate.